Everybody, I want to talk to you today about how to take a 10-minute mini vacation from your head. Maybe you're one of those people who have experienced lately this feeling of what I call the cumulative effect of things changing so fast. And at first you're like, okay, here's my new normal. But then you get week after week after week, and you're living into the new normal. And yet at the same time, there's this cumulative effect. We're people who love to be connected to one another. That's the way we've been made, and we've been separated from one another for quite a while. And maybe you're missing friends or relatives that you wish you could be near. Your rhythms are new rhythm, but they're not the rhythms you're used to, and things kind of feel chaotic and swirling all around us. You're like in your space, but you know there's other things going on in the big part of the world. And what we do as humans is that we tend to feed off the things that are around us. And that's not a failure of character, it's just being human. And if you think about it, it makes sense. We humans have to have that ability to read situations around us so that we have empathy for those who are around us, so that we can respond to the needs around us. But when things are constantly chaotic or anxious, or when our routines and rhythms are all mixed up, we can get this feeling of being a little disconnected or unmoored or out of control. But here's the thing, you can feel like you're off track or unmoored or chaotic or bored or whatever it is. But at your very core, you are not those things. It doesn't mean that's who you are. You're not chaotic. You're not a hot mess, whatever. It's just that you're feeling that way because at our very core, it's connected to God, who is never unmoored. And God wants to give us a sense of calm and peace and comfort. And God wants to give us a way that we're not consumed by fear or anxiety. God is delighted in us just as we are right now, not as we want to be, but as we are right now. Every moment, God has given us this compassion and forgiveness for whatever the moment is. So, what we have to do as humans is we have to teach ourselves how to be in the present moment. Our heads want to live in the future, our minds want to rehash the past. But what we're called to do is to live as much as possible into the present moment. Richard Rohr said this. I love this. I read this past week. Richard Rohr said, get in one ordinary concrete moment and struggle with it there, fight with it there, resist with it there, and then fall in love with it there. He said, what is true in one place finally ends up being true everywhere. So I think we can find peace and calm in moments, even when it feels chaotic around us. And one of the things that we can do is to learn to do practices that help us to practice being in the moment so that even when we're in other moments and it feels like things are swirling around us, we're in a little island of peace and calm. And it's much easier said than done. So if you're like me, I have to practice it. I call it my 10-minute mini vacation from my head. And this week I'm going to do it out in nature because I think nature has a lot to teach us about ourselves and about God, about how life comes out of dead things and how we are surrounded by beautiful things all the time. That never stops. There's so much diversity in the world, and I think this is how God created it to be. So it's like eye candy for us. It's wonderful. It helps pull us out of ourselves, and it helps us to see how large this world is, and it puts us in the right place in the world so we're not the center of our own universe, but reminds us that there are all these things out there that are still going on at the same time the things in our lives are going on. So since there's so many beautiful things out there, I think they're just beckoning us to notice, right? So here are a couple of little 10-minute mini vacations that you can take to lead you down that path of wonder. One of them is what I call a meditation walk. So this is not a get your heart rate up walk, do that later for your exercise, whatever. This is a meandering walk where you stop and notice things. So plan that. Plan to stop along the way a few minutes at a time. So you can go on a path that you usually take, or maybe you want to take a different path depending on what you see down the street or the path that you're walking on. And as you walk, you're going to look for signs of new life. There's so much out there. The tulips are out, the trees are flowering. And what you're going to do is you're going to stop and notice things that catch your eye. It could be a particular flower or a leaf, things that are budding. What you're going to do is you're going to stop and look at it. You're going to really look at it. So you're going to notice the flowers, the colors of it, the shape of the petal or the shape of the leaves on a tree, or what the bark looks like on a tree. You're going to notice the way that it blends in with one another, the way that the soil looks as it comes out of the ground. You're going to look at what life is sustained by that one little thing that you are looking at. I'm going to do that for about 10 minutes. Just take your time and notice how you walk and notice your breathing. That's a meditation walk. Another thing that you can do is a sky watch, and you can do this in the daytime, or if you're a night owl, man, nighttime is a great time to do this. You can do this with others in your family or whoever you're staying at home with. You want to grab either like a blanket or a hammock or a lawn chair, and you're going to situate it outside so that you can look up at the sky. So you can notice the colors in the sky. If it's during the daytime, the clouds that go overhead, and if it's during the nighttime, the stars that come out, if they move around, how they move, if you're out there for a while, what the moon's up to right now. If there's any animals out, just listen for them. Just these things that kind of bring you outside of yourself and looking at that big, big sky, so much bigger than us. Helps us to remember that we are so important in this world, but there are big things in this world as well. And that's one of the ways that God speaks to us. It's a practice of humility, right? We're not so less that we're nothing, but we're not everything. It situates us right in the right spot of things. Here's another thing that you can do. You can use your sense of hearing to listen to the things around you, and it's a great time to do that with the bird songs that are out there. So I myself, I'm an early morning riser. I don't know if you are, but let me tell you what's going on about 4:30 in the morning. The birds, they are coming out like crazy. So I've become really curious about it. What I've been trying to do in the morning is to listen to all of them and to see if I could pick out the different bird songs, one from another. I've been listening to them sing the song, trying to imagine what they're doing, if they're waking up, who they're calling to in the morning, what their pattern is. Been trying to figure out, are these birds that are just like stopping by on their way to someplace else, or are they here to stay? There's so much diversity in the birds around us, and I've seen some beautiful ones lately. That's a good way to get outside of yourself, is to use your hearing and to really concentrate on the things around you, particularly the birds that are coming out this time of the year. And you can adapt. You can adapt to any of these practices outside, whatever works for you in your lawn, in your decks, wherever it is. There's a lot of life around us. What you're looking for, the idea is to look for one particular thing in nature to focus your attention. It's the practice, ancient practice actually, of examine. Like, look at something truly for what it is, and to wonder about it outside of yourself, and to wonder about it outside of the things in your life. Whatever you choose to do, remember that what you're teaching yourself is how to stop and be still in any given moment, to really immerse yourself into what you're looking at or listening to use your God-given senses to be part of the nature around you. It's how to take a 10-minute mini vacation from your head so that you can see for yourself what is true in one place finally ends up being true everywhere. Hope you get a chance to enjoy the next couple of days in this beautiful week. I'll see you on Sunday in worship. See you later. Bye. Bye-bye.